Hello again. What an incredible program of films. Really amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed each individual one of them. Let's turn to our first filmmaker in this Q&A. Can you tell us more about where the idea came from and how long did it take you? Over to you, Gal.
The idea came from a real meeting that I had in Tel Aviv, in the south of Tel Aviv, which is an area that a lot of Central African refugees live. I also live there. One day when I came back from work, crossing the Tel Aviv Central Station, going to the bridge, I met a young Eritrean guy that oh, and I forgot to say it was the evening of Independence Day, which means that everybody was in this mood of celebration, but he was not, because he's a migrant, so he was not connected to what's going on. And we talked a bit, and I remember that when I was in the Netherlands, I kind of felt the same in Queen's Day, which is a similar day, like you have this outside celebration with fireworks, and I tried to make him see that, you know, it's like a process to be a migrant. It takes time to actually feel yourself again connected to where you are. And I was impressed in the way he built his life there. So, I mean, you know, it came back from my experiences as a migrant in Holland. So it was kind of like a combination of both what I heard from him and what I felt. And another point for it was me meeting Ulrich Ganga, which is again like a guy from Sudan that is living in Tel Aviv. He's a cook, but he also plays in a band called Africa Po, which means Africa Here. And he wrote the song in the end of the film, which is like a very strong song because it's talk about this, the wrong is long and it's keep on going. So the migration process is never ending, basically. And this film is basically about this guy in this moment in the Independence Day, feeling disconnected and basically looking at the sky and meeting again his mother and himself as a baby. So it's like his connection, or is creating the connection again for himself.
And did these two people watch the film? Did you have a chance to show it to them, or were they just kind of one-off meetings?
No. Ulrich saw the film and he gave the song. So he's a good friend and he saw the film and really loved it. The whole band really loved it. Solomon, the guy I met, we never exchanged any details, so I lost him in the whole process. So and I'm not sure he even knew what this like 5 minutes on the bridge meant for me, and what did I do with it later on, because the film kind of took like a year and a half to make from scratch, you know, like from it's a 3D film, so I had to do everything to create it. But yeah, it's for all migrants, especially for this community in the south of Tel Aviv.
What particularly struck me about your film was the lighting. Yeah, that was incredible, really fantastic. Thank you so much. Moving to the Netherlands with a fantastic film about 4 very strong women called Duchess of the Sea. Maaike, how did you get involved with this project? What I particularly liked that the focus, because I screen in our cinema, we screen a lot of films about sport and sort of documentaries. And often it's about, are they going to win or are they not going to win? And actually the winning was not in being first, which was really wonderful to see. Can you talk a bit more about it and how you got involved with these 4 women?
Yeah, that's nice actually, that's something that you noticed, because that was something that was very important to us, to not make it a film about the race. And we even thought of maybe not even filming the whole race. It was part of one of the original plans, but then we would miss so much beautiful shots and experiences. So, but it should not be about the competition. I know one of these women, and she came to me, and Sana, the woman I make this film with, directed and produced together. And she told us about what she was doing, and it sounded so exciting. And actually we thought straight, yeah, we want to film this, definitely.
Where were you during that journey? So did you just put cameras on the boat, or did you talk to the women? Did you talk to them about shots that you wanted? And I mean, of course, the emotional journey to them was a huge surprise. What was your input in that, and how did you decide to capture that?
We started just before the boat was shipped, and they were in the final phase of getting ready to really go, and they were so excited. It was very special to jump in right in that moment. And what we did is we followed them in these final preparations, so preparing the boat, packing all the food, going to the hairdresser, these kind of little things they still had to do, but also making the route, very important. And then we did interviews with all of them, and we prepared them to do the video diaries. They had on board, they had 2 cameras, one in the front, one in the back, and one always on deck. So we got in the end a lot of material that we all had to watch back, but it was also very pleasant, but like hours of materials all cut back into this film.
Yeah.
And we interviewed them in the end. So it was also for us really a surprise what is going to happen on board. And I find it really, well, not scary, but a little bit maybe like, okay, bye, here my job ends. And we see each other 50, 60 days later. And yeah, with a lot of stories.
Yes, and of course there was an extra camera on board that you were not aware of.
No, I was aware.
Oh, you were aware. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's just during the process, we instructed them how to do it and what we were hoping for. But we were also very honest to each other. They're gonna row. They have to row. So if they would feel super sick or bad or something goes wrong, no video diaries. If they didn't feel like it, of course, we tried like, please also make videos of moments that you don't feel well, but
yeah,
we didn't know if they were actually gonna do it.
Right.
So yeah, what we got back was a big surprise in all means.
It's amazing that you managed to fit that into 25 minutes. Really well done. Fantastic. Again, really enjoyed that. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Really well done. Moving on to Moore's Day now, Mother's Day, and introducing Janine. A very daring topic. We don't often see this in cinema. It's of course heart-rending. Can you please tell me where this came from?
Well, initially it came from my own experience having a miscarriage about 5 years ago now. And we planted a small tree in commemoration of the loss. I was fortunate enough at that point to have another daughter in already. So to me, it became more of a journey of figuring out, well, if I feel this traumatized by this experience, I wonder how women who have not ever been able to conceive, how they feel. And that's what brought me to the story of Ellen and her adopted daughter, Lily, and how the two of them really struggle to connect. And it's not until this first day of her period that it really dawns on her that the little girl that she's been taking care of or tried not to take care of for a long time, she needs her. And it's through that sort of disconnect that they finally find each other.
It's interesting in this film that you don't quite know where it's going, and suddenly get the shock when the horror, a bit of that experience. Very, very powerful. Has this film been shown to other audiences yet?
Initially, it showed at AFI Fest, and then it has just shown at Middlebury New Filmmakers Festival here in Vermont, where I am now. It was a wonderful experience seeing it with a more mature audience, because the film speaks to a more mature audience. And so they were both, as you say, terrified in some moments and felt really, really close to the main character and sort of like this very unlikable woman, but everyone could recognize that unlikable woman.
Why is she Danish? Is that to add another layer of interest?
I'm Danish. So even though I live in the US, I always try to, I mean, my dream is to make more movies in Denmark. That's my draw towards the Danish characters. Most of my films actually have Danish or Danish women in them. So, yeah.
I think it's really wonderful. It's adding a layer of complexity that we come across in everyday life. I'm Dutch in England, and there are so many people like us. And just as a matter of fact, for that to be part of the film is really wonderful to see. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. You deserve a place in this category, very much so. One for the road. Here is the water in our whiskey, or the whiskey in our water. Mila and Julia, both the producers of the film. Fantastic message at the end as well, which really brings home what our potential future for a lot of communities is. Can you tell us more about where this idea came from?
One for the Road is actually inspired by something that has already happened, or is going to happen, to a town in Wales called Fairborn. They aren't quite where the people in our film are yet, but they have been told that they will lose their village within the next 20 to 25 years. Nobody knows when exactly. It depends on a lot of different factors. And when we heard that story, that kind of struck a chord in us, and we wanted to make a fictionalized version of that. So we went out there and we talked to the people who live there, and we kind of, through these conversations, we came to the themes that we then transported into One for the Road, because we knew very early on that we wouldn't be able to put all of the complexity that is the real situation into a 15-minute film. It is inspired by reality, unfortunately. And I think that's also why we put that message in the end, just to kind of remind people that even though in this instance it's a story, it is something that's already happening.
Yes, in the south coast of England where I am, there's also already a big red line going inland of where the ocean is going to be within the next 30 years. So it's a big reality. Did you screen the film to that village?
Yes, we did. We made the film during the pandemic, so unfortunately we haven't really had a chance to have a lot of live screenings, but we did send the film as a sort of an online link to all the people in Fairborn that helped us. And we were really happy to see that they really connected to the film, and they liked it a lot. And yeah, we received really good feedback from them, which was really good for us, and something that we'd hoped would happen.
Your main actor, Lynn Hunter, was excellently cast. Can you tell us a little bit more about her?
She did an amazing job. We were really lucky to get her as well. She was kind of our top choice for the role, and we offered her the role. We didn't even hold castings or anything like that. We decided before we were going to do that, we were going to try and offer the role to her, and we sent her the script. She ended up falling in love with the story, and she's Welsh, so that worked out perfectly. But yeah, we were so lucky to be able to work with her, and she did a tremendous job.
Yes, and your cast being small made it so possible, I suppose, during COVID.
That's kind of why we brought the pub in as the location, because we knew that we would have to somehow show a community without showing a community, because we couldn't. Because one of the biggest things that Carrie is losing in this film is the people that she spent all her life with, but we couldn't have the people there. And we felt like a pub would be a good place to kind of stand for that, because it is the beating heart of many communities. So we kind of brought that in. And then obviously in the end, you kind of have the people there in spirit just through the voices.
Yes, that was a beautiful ending. Yeah, really good. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for making it and sending it to WOF. Let's now go to There Is a Reason People Don't Swim in Dresses with Andrew and Sally. I so enjoyed it. I've made a dress once out of film posters. So I can kind of relate to using different materials for dress. How did you come up with the idea, and how did it feel swimming or being submerged in water covered in J-cloth.
I'm an artist and a writer, and this is my first film, obviously not Andy's first film at all, but my first time of really working with him. I was fascinated by J-cloth material and wondered, you know, how it could be made into a dress. One of our friends made it into a wedding dress with a 3-foot long train. And then I wanted to experiment and see how the material would move in water, especially with its very long train. So we found a quarry, a 25-metre deep quarry with beautiful clear water in Tamworth, Staffordshire, and I walked down some steps and swam in it. And it has the title, There's a Reason People Don't Swim in Dresses, because of course it's a ludicrous thing to do. And that was a very important aspect of the film, to do something that was quite playful. And it wasn't dangerous because there were several people in the water with me, as well as Andy filming. But it's impossible to swim in a dress with a long train, and the seams rip very quickly as soon as you do the front crawl or sort of get any speed up. It was yes, it's a very impractical outfit for swimming.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
I was surprised how beautiful the material did look underwater, and that became the main theme of it. Really, is the way that the way that it looks in this gorgeous clear water.
Yes, great, fantastic. Andrew, how was it to film this?
Yeah, I mean, it was very cold, first and foremost. I mean, it was great fun, actually. I loved Sally's idea. You know, I guess there's an element of the J-cloth potentially representing a role that's put on women. I thought it was, you know, a really brilliant kind of symbolic gesture to wear it as a wedding dress. It was all filmed on a 360 camera because I'm not really that experienced at filming underwater, to be fair. Kind of played around with kind of very slow frame rates. And that's kind of helps with the kind of giving it a sort of a dance-like feel, I guess. And also, you know, in terms of the editing, just kind of playing with the movement, you know, so kind of trying to cut things as things move around. Unfortunately, there are a couple of little technical problems. So I'd not experimented with this camera underwater in a great way before, and the housing I had for it wasn't. It's kind of more of a splash-proof housing, and so although it's perfectly watertight, it doesn't. It limited my kind of field of view to some degree. So, you know, you had to kind of work around that.
And has this film been on show yet? Have other people seen it, and what's the response been?
A handful of people have seen it, and this is our first film festival. So it's just been seen by friends and acquaintances so far.
And what do they say?
A mixture of reactions. Some people sort of say wonderful. Some people sort of say how strange and why. It provokes a mixture of reactions.
I think if that happens, you've made a good film.
Thank you.
Really fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then last but definitely not least, Lamy Low. So talking to Marlene and Sandy.
Hello, so nice to be here.
Hi, really nice to be
Hi.
here.
Hi. So much enjoyed your film. Of course, black and white is absolutely brilliant in terms of cinematography, but the pace, the mode, the song. Can you please tell me where did the idea come from? This is your platform. Please tell us more about it.
Well, I think it'd be nice to start with the idea behind the procession and the choreography, which is all came from Sandy, which introduced me to the theme, to the dancing, to the singing, which then became a film. So
yeah. So when we met each other, I discovered that song "Lamy Low." It comes from some time period, I think around World War II, maybe. But it's known as a Shaker song, and my mom lived very close to a Shaker community, and I had just lost her like 6 months before, and kind of having performance and life kind of merge. You know, it was a song that I did live and Marlene was there. I had just started forming a group of different ages and backgrounds of disciplines of people, and we decided to do kind of a communal mourning, a communal procession. And that song is so beautiful because it's also in a 6, which is, you know, it's a 3. It's a it's very a lot of looping and cycles, and it was very, I don't know, it was very therapeutic and beautiful to do it amongst a group of people that, you know, another person had lost their mother during that time too. And just that, you know, human loss is really what a lot of it was about. So the gestures, the way we use the ground to kind of to do the kind of slide and have it be kind of looping and meditative was a big intent, with being in nature and seeing the cycles of nature as we were researching it.
From a film perspective, when I first saw Sandy perform it alone, I was so moved and so touched, and then we connected after the performance and spoke quite a bit, and then she invited me to her studio where I met all of the performers and was just so moved by what they were doing that I, you know, couldn't help but embark on it as a film project, which we produced together. And yeah, just that idea of following this procession and really feeling like you're moving along these pathways with them was one of the intentions that I had behind it. And the arrival, you know, the ship passing, it was filmed in the St. Lawrence Seaway in Montreal. And historically, it's just such an important waterway and how it connects to, you know, us to the rest of the world for voyage and trade and everything else. So it seemed like a really nice setting to have that sense of arrival, and at the end, the sense of departure, and the links between life and death and this flow of water and the continuity of it all. It just seemed like the right thing to be doing.
All of that really comes across in your film absolutely beautifully. Beautiful. I really, really enjoyed it. Thank you for making that. Thank you all so much for making your films in the first place and for sharing them with me, with WOF, with the wider public. I really wish you success with this film and your ongoing film careers. This is a fantastic celebration. I'd like to say goodbye now.
Bye.
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 Bye.